want to introduce, we got a special guest in here. He just popped on. We got legend arm wrestler, Marcio Barboza. Welcome, Marcio. How are you tonight, brother?
Very good, guys. Sorry, a little late. I just got home
What's
from work.
up, Marcio?
What's up, Jerry? What's up, Paul? How you guys doing?
Doing great, brother.
Yes, Marcio.
Yeah,
So
man.
I wanted to kick this night off, and it's a pleasure to have two legends on at the same time on our channel. It's a great thing. So had a couple of questions I just wanted to run by both of you. So the first question is we're going to start off with Marcio, and I just wanted to get, how has arm wrestling changed since from when you first started until today? And how many years ago did you begin arm wrestling?
Well, I've been in the sport for a long time. I think right around 30 years. Yeah, a long time. A little over 30 years. So I started was 17. And of course, the sport has, there's certainly evolution. I think in my opinion, after social media, I would say, like where everybody could see how everybody was training, how everybody was, progressing and stuff. I think it motivates people to take more serious. I mean, back in Brazil, back in my time, it was, it took a little while. Like I dominated over there before I start going out, pulling some WAF. I was still middleweight, won, some more titles. By the end of 2000, decided to move to the United States.
Let me ask you, so 30 years ago in Brazil, what is arm wrestling like? Is it a big thing? Is it kind of underground? Like, where are we at in Brazil?
It was, I don't know if I say kind of underground, but it was, I was introduced by a friend. He invited me to watch a state tournament. It was maybe 150 guys in a state tournament over there. And then nationals back then, it was about already like 300 people, it was already packed. And it's always been, popular in Brazil. So it was a lot of people back then.
Would you say there's been a significant growth since the beginning, or it's about the same as when you began?
No, it's been some growth. It's more people interested in the sport. I mean, even though over there, I don't know how it is now because it's been a long time, but I remember when I first came to the United States, the following couple of years later, the government, it was helping like athletes that would take like top 3, and afterwards they will have a salary, monthly salary, and they will have the expenses paid for WF words. And so it was good for a while. I think it lasts like over 10 years. I think some countries still have in Europe, I heard. I talked to a lot of people from Europe. A lot of countries, they still have that, help from the government. I think in Brazil right now, they don't have any help. And then it became tougher, for, the good talents to get out of the country and show what they got.
So, Jerry, I want to ask you the same question. How long have you been in arm wrestling? I believe you said it's, is it 35 years?
30, what do we have, 22? 33.
33 years.
89 was my first meet. I was in high school.
Now, what was it like? Where were you living back then in 89?
Attleboro, Mass.
Okay. What was the state of arm wrestling then? Was it a big thing? Was it just underground? Where were we at?
No, but I mean, the biggest differences are obviously the internet, right? Because back then we were relying on a magazine coming out like Armbender, and which would come out quarterly, I think, right? It was quarterly or monthly, and it would come out and it would tell you when the next tournaments were, because you didn't have the luxury of, oh, let me just log in and see, you know, where's the next meet, where's this, where's that. It was word of mouth. You had to pick up a phone and press buttons to dial, or rotary and dial that shit. But and then you all, you know, meet up at the arm wrestling, but and then talk there and whatever. But I think it's evolved so much because with social media, with the internet, with phones, cell phones, everything, it's right there, right? And we're talking right now, you know, through my cell phone, right? Which is crazy that we can be online talking right through a cell phone, boom, boom, and it's instantaneous. Before it was, you know, I had to lug around some big ass camcorder, right, to videotape it, come home, you know, and then put the VHS tape in the VCR to be able to watch and see what everyone else was, you know. So it's pretty crazy, right? Because we didn't have the luxury of videos. You had to, you know, watch it on someone's VHS. So I love where it's come. It just sucks that, you know, it wasn't around at that level before. And I believe, yeah, my first world championship that I won was 1996. And I went against a guy from Brazil that was a former world champ. And I took my world championship. I beat him. His name was Clovis. And great dude. Did you know him, Marcio?
Yes. Yeah, we were in the same team back then. Same gym. We used to train together. We used to train in the same team in Brazil.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
When we were at the World Championship, we swapped jackets, right? I gave him my Team USA, and nice. I still have it somewhere around here. Don't fit though, but the Brazil jacket.
Yeah, but, you were my weight back then. You were like 110 kilos there.
Yeah, I was.
I remember. I was there. I took second that words. I took second on 85 kilos, 187 pounds.
Oh, see? We were both smaller, right? But, yeah, it was good. Loved it, you know. So it's I can't think of anything I'd rather do than arm wrestling. I played football. I did it all, and you know, just arm wrestling it's the people that make the sport so fun. I
agree. Definitely the best community out. I wanted to ask you guys, so I want you guys to name three people that have really helped with the growth of arm wrestling. You know, they could be anybody, could be from back in the day, could be today, just any three names that come to mind with the growth of arm wrestling. Let's start off with you, Marcio.
Listen, back in my days, I'm gonna throw a little bit on the past. When I first heard like a high level arm wrestling, I mean, back in Brazil, it was like John Brzenk, Culver Rhodes, Dave Patton, and also Sharon Remes from Israel. Back then, those were the names, you know, back in 1991, 92. And then I was dying to meet those guys. And, you know, there was like Jerry was saying, there were magazines. They used to do those magazines. A AAA, American Association, they used to do those armbender magazines. I used to have them. I used to sign them, and I was like, you know, that was the big thing for me back then. Like Jerry was saying before, the social media thing, we were receiving just invitations by mail. Everything was mostly on that magazine, and everything else is just invitations. You know, stuff from the mail, very old stuff. I think. And now with the change with the social media, of course, I have to. Davin Larrett, I think, is one of the first guys to do a lot of training videos, like really exploring like a lot of exercise, how to do this, how to do that. I think he started like maybe I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. I mean, he was one of the first guys to put a lot of content over there, and everybody was paying attention. Of course, let me think about. I think he was the most promote the most, and I can think about a bunch of guys like Alexei Voivoda, still John Brzenk, still active as he was, like going all over the world, you know, to face those guys. But I was saying like back in the past, those guys that I mentioned it, and when the social media starts, definitely Devin Larrett. is the first name that came to my mind, along with some others, you know, like Alexi Voivoda was very popular, like when the social media starts, but all of a sudden he stopped. But he was famous by being a professional athlete in other sports too. And John Brzenk was very active, and some other guys just came along. But to me, those are the most, like you see the most of them on the internet.
Wow. Jerry, same question to you. Who's three names that come to mind with the growth of arm wrestling?
Well, it sucks that I got to ask the question second because now it looks like a copy of Marcio, right? But I think definitely Devin, right? Because he's been such a motivator and he traveled the world and he was every time you turn the internet, turned it on. I sound old, right? I sound like I'm turning the TV on, but every time you would look at the internet and you would see Devin, he was in a different country and he was doing something and he was, arm wrestling, 1,000 guys, whatever, and doing training and at some feats of, of a weirdness show or whatever, right? But so he was always busy with it. And then I think you got to throw Travis in there because it was his loud mouth that got everyone riled up. He said what most people thought, but they're like, I would never say that because people are going to hate me if I say it. And so he was the guy that would spit words out and get people, it was like the Howard Stern of arm wrestling. And then you got to say John because everyone loved John because he was the opposite, right? John was the most respected guy that would step up to the table and he was the gentle giant. Like for those people that knew John personally, he was always so nice. Like you would go there and he would talk to everyone. He would just be like a cool dude. And off the table, you'd never know he was a monster on the table. And so many people grew up wanting to chase that person. And it was because of social media. I mean, we still lived in the mojo that, I got to beat John. I want to go against John. I want to chase John. But then he didn't get the same like as Devin because Devin went out there soliciting it himself. John never was that guy, right? John was the guy that he just wanted to do it on the table. And he was not about showboat. He was not about, how loud can he call someone out, this, that, the other thing. He just did his talking on the table. Travis and Devin did their talking on the internet. And then they would, make it a, let's make it a YouTube sensation and talk shit up and, get people, oh my God, see what this dude said and boom, boom, boom. So you got those three and there can, Travis and Devin are similar because they both talk a lot of shit, right? But I like both of them. And then you got John, and John's just a lovable dude that he was super strong, and I used to, I tell you, one of the matches that I still love is when it was on the Tonight Show. Marcio went against John Brzenk on the Tonight Show, and Marcio won.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that all go down, and when did that go down?
That was 2003.
2003
on the Dave Letterman show, right?
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I got invited. It was something that they invited. Like the intention was to get David DeVoto was get like 4 top professional arm wrestlers in North America, and that was the last one to be chosen. I think. Then I went over there and I steal the party.
Who was the other 3 that were with you?
It was John Brzenk, Travis Bajan, and Eric O'Fell.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Eric Waffel is from my area, North Cal. We all know Travis Bajan, the mouth of arm wrestling, and John Brzenk, the GOAT, and Marcio, another legend in the sport. So, and then Dave DeVoto, just for you guys that don't know Dave DeVoto is the guy that started the World Wrist Wrestling Organization back in the 1960s in Petaluma, California. So he kind of put arm wrestling on the map. So he is definitely a big name when it comes to arm wrestling history.
Yeah, he was nice. I remembered I was in very good shape and I was light. I was 215 pounds. I think John was 205. He was not too heavy. Travis and Eric were like heavy, like 285, 290, near 300 pounds. And it was funny. It was like three weeks later, Travis defeated Alexei Voivoda at WF Worlds in Canada. So it made me feel good about it.
Yeah. So what happened? Tell us exactly what went down on the Letterman show then.
No, they just made like it was supposed to be me. They tried to make the two smaller guys, so it ended up being me and Brzenk first round. Okay. I won, and then long hook match, and Travis and Eric. Travis won in straps, quick hit, and me and Travis in the final, and I beat Travis.
That's amazing, bro.
But Travis was in good shape. I was like, I didn't expect to do what I did because I was called like a day before. Like it was a Wednesday, and it was a Tuesday night, so I was called like Monday afternoon.
Wow. And where is the Dave Letterman show? Is that in New York?
He was in New York. He was in New York.
So that's just a drive right over the bridge for you because you're out of New Jersey, right?
Marcio rode his bicycle.
Say that again, Jerry?
Marcio got to ride his bicycle there. Everyone else had to fly there.
Yeah, that's true. Now, listen, I was the last one on the list. I think it was supposed to be either Ron Bath or Dave Randall. I'm not sure. And they couldn't make it. And then they invite me at last minute. I was like, okay, I'll go tomorrow. It was the next day. I was like, okay.
That is very, very cool. Wow. I never heard of that before.
Oh, no. Listen, that was one of the ones that I was like, oh, my God. One of the most impressive ones that I could remember with Marcio. Okay? And that was like, I think that's the first time Marcio beat John.
It was actually, let me think. It was the second time in the same year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the first time. It was in Lake Tahoe. Remember Leonard and Denise used to do those Lake Tahoe national professional something. I forgot the name of the tournament. I went over there exactly to pull John because I pulled John first time in 2001, Harley Pool. I lost, but I gave him kind of a good match. So, he took my hand, but it took him like maybe 20 seconds to put me down. So I was like, okay, I got a chance. Then I trained.
How much did you weigh in 2001?
We both competed under 220.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are in the 220, in the 253 class there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then in Lake Tahoe, I think John was 215 and I was 220. I was close weight. We were like close in weight back then. I was younger. So it was, so I beat him one match in the straps. He beat me the first one in a tournament in the same class. He beat me the first one in the final. I beat him one in the straps. And the last one, he didn't let me get in the straps because in the straps, I was able to top row him. So he got me in a hook. We have a good hook match, but he ended up winning. I mean, John, he never lets you get wrist to wrist. He stay with his pronation. So you almost feel like you under him. So it's not a real, wrist to wrist hook. So you know how he pulls. He's so dominant in the hand and wrist.
Yep.
Even when he hooks. And but it was a good match. Ingan Terzi was there, and a lot of people,
That's gotta be such an amazing feeling because you were just telling us about how you used to read the magazines and see John Brzenk and Cobra Rhodes, and now 10 years later you're in a tournament going against him and you get a win. What did that feel like back in 2001 for you? Was it like not even real?
No, it feels really good because one thing is like, when the people doubt you, right? Like, I remember going to the first time, I think you're from California, Paul?
Yes.
So do you remember Bruce Wayne used to do that World Amateur tournament?
Nah, see, I'm not from here, dude.
Time,
and I'm only 3 years in the sport.
Right? You know Bruce Wayne, the guy who drinks the oil and over the top?
Yes. Actually, I got to meet him at King of Cali a couple months back. Cool.
So he used to organize a small tournament that he calls, but it was international, but they call like a World Amateur ArmWrestling Championships. And in Brazil, like you're not professional yet, like you can go to this tournament to get experience. And I went over there. I won both arms, and that's how I started internationally. And he told me that I could be in such a high level close to Brzenk. And I remember like some of my friends, my teammate, like they were laughing, like, no, I think you were saying that, like no, you probably won't. Then exactly, like sometime later, first time I pulled Brzenk, and my dream is to give him like a tough match, win or lose. And when I pull him for the first time, I was able to give him a good match. I'm like, okay, so he's better, way better, but I can close the gap, And the next time I pull him, I was able to beat him. I mean, one match, he beat me 2-1 in the final, but I was able to at least beat him and give him a good match. And then the other time, the follow time, it was that one on Dave Letterman. And I beat him again. It was the same year.
That's a perfect time to do it, bro, because now you can always go back to that video footage and show everybody that one.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. He's always better arm wrestler. He's amazing. He's the guy who inspired me all the time. I agree that he's the GOAT, best of all time. His style, the way he pulls, his achievements are incredible.
Unmatched. I think in any sport, I don't think there's any other sport that you could say that there's somebody that's better in that sport. Because, I mean, he's 4 decades of domination, which, I don't think there's anybody even close to that. But, Jerry, I wanted to talk to you about when was the first win you got on the GOAT of our sport, John Brzenk?
I think the first one, I'm pretty sure it was Venice Beach.
What year? Do you have an idea around?
Yeah, it was the thing's right there. I'm trying to look. It was either 09 or 10.
Okay.
We had pulled a whole bunch of times, and we had so many wars when I was young. Like Marcio said, we had war after war after war, and so I want to say we pulled probably five times before I beat him.
Wow. Okay. And what was it like that first time? Were you in shock? Were you was he somebody that you looked up to when you were coming up arm wrestling?
I think anyone that's in the sport of arm wrestling looked up to John, right? I mean, he was that guy, right? So the one revered guy that people synonymously knew with the name arm wrestling, they would talk about John Brzenk, and I think it's funny because it was before me and the wife when we were getting together, and I'm meeting her family, and she's like, "Oh, he's a professional arm wrestler, right?" Dude's like, "Oh, I watched the special on John Brzenk, right?" I'm like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding me?" Right? And I was like, No. I already beat him. So I'm like, what? But I'm like, great. I'm going to hear about it when I'm going to meet my girl's family. And, whatever. But, you got to love John.